Nearly 900 dolphins are dead, and that's just the number that is washed up on shore. I'm talking about Peru and one stretch of northern beach about 130 miles long. Since January, dead dolphins have been washing ashore there, and scientists can't agree on the reasons why. I want to talk to Sue Rocca. She's a marine biologist with the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Society. Sue, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So what does your gut tell you about a dolphin kill this sizable?
Well, we have strandings all along our coast for all sorts of reasons. And generally, if one or two come up, there's all sorts of natural phenomenon that can cause that. But when you have something this large, my gut would tell me that there's something traumatic that happened at a snapshot that would kill this many animals. That there was a range of age classes, adults, pregnant females, calves, the young. So it definitely, something happened for sure.
So when you talk about examining the thing that may have happened, what are marine biologists going to be looking at? Are they going to be examining the carcasses of these animals to see if there's something viral, disease, or if there's something else that's environmental in the oceans in which these mammals have traveled?
Well, yes, you would need to look at all of that. You'd need to do necropsies, which is an autopsy, but on an animal. A lot of the specimens have been decomposed. You want to look at the organs. I know that they've been finding hemorrhagic lesions, which is just basically big bruises. They've been finding bubbles in the blood-filled oil and kidney, which is consistent with an acoustic trauma. They've been finding that some of the acoustic bones in these animals' heads have been fractured, but that's just a small percentage. There's over 600, well, 900 now, confirmed animals. But when some researchers, there's a lead researcher down in Peru, Dr. Yapin Llanos, who is kind of expanded that stretch of beach, and he's claiming up to 3,000 individuals. So he's gone out and looked at them and found these traumas of the head and areas in specific animals. So that's one hypothesis, that it could be an acoustic trauma to the animals.
So when we look at these animals from this footage, and it is disturbing to look at because we're talking about, it looks like a variation of things have happened to the carcasses, and I don't know if some of that is prior to the dolphins washing up or if that's as a result of, people kind of poking around trying to figure them out, but we saw some of them were quite bloodied. Others even looked like they had been skinned, and then others look completely intact. So what do you believe is the explanation behind that?
Well, seagulls generally prey on the dead specimens. They also would need to be doing necropsies and cutting them up. I think that from the reports that I have read, there was different levels of decomposition when they were washing up. So maybe just different animals were further from shore and washing up at some of that decomposition was happening at sea, and there is a skin sloughing that happens that way. I read one report that some of the fishermen were using the more fresh meat, so they could have been repurposing that meat for something. So there's all sorts of things that might be happening to those animals. So real quick, Sue, before I let you go, you mentioned acoustic trauma. What causes acoustic trauma? Are you talking about, from shipping vessels or what? Well, our oceans are an exceedingly noisy place these days. We've got shipping traffic, yes. But when you see this level of stranding, it's generally from either seismic, and there is some oil development right off the coast of Peru, or Navy sonars. We've seen it a lot with those. But it could also be biotoxins might be accumulating in the ecosystem there, and so they're feeding on fish that sort of come up. I think that's the big thing, is that we just don't know, and more investigation
so many unanswered questions.
Right, before people make definitive answers.
All right, excellent. Sue Rocca, thanks so much. Sorry to cut you off. We've got to go, but I really appreciate that and learned an awful lot.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
We know we'll get some other answers, hopefully soon after they finish those tests. Appreciate it, Sue.